Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. We in this thing representing the Sports Coma. Good to see y'all in this episode. Happy Memorial Day. And rest in power to our veterans out there that's there, man. It's a Memorial Day weekend for the fam. Hope you guys have been productive and had a good Memorial weekend. But shout out to everybody, man. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. Much love to the fam. Elite, Pammy, good to see Pammy. Shout out to my queens out there. Good to see you. I see you, Pammy. Much love to you. What's up, Kay? Good to see KK in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. The rest of my brothers in the stream as well. Poppy 504, OG Jerry. Brother Christopher's in this thing. What's up, Brother Tori? How you doing, sir? Appreciate you as always. Elite's in this thing. Good to see you as well. Appreciate each and every last one. Of Young City 9, I see you, fam. Appreciate you as well. Much love to the fam. Appreciate you. English, thank you, sir. I'm chilling with you tonight, Q. Much props to you for being the real. Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate you, fam. Much love to you, English. Thank you for the compliment, sir. All right. Big ups to everybody, man. Good to see y'all. Hope y'all having a pretty good, weekend is just about over, the holiday, as it were. But I hope you guys had a fantastic time. Mr. Fire D, good to see you, fam. Pelicans, Nola in this thing. Watch me win sports. Shout out to you, fam. Good to see you as well. Appreciate you as well. Big ups to everybody, man. Hope you guys are having a fantastic time. What's up, Tuck? Appreciate you, fam. Much love for being in the stream. As always, fam. Appreciate you. What's up, Brother Revolt? Brother Revolt, good to hear from you, man. Much love to Brother Revolts in this thing. Hope everything going all right with you and the fam out there in Georgia. Brother Rose in this thing as well. Good to see everybody, man. Much love. All right, so, man, listen, I wanted to go over a few things with the family tonight. I wasn't going to hold you. I was watching some of the Boston and the Indiana matchup. I thought it'd be more of a competitive matchup, man, but my goodness, it has not been. The Western Conference or the Eastern Conference hasn't been very much to watch this year. I mean, teams have just been, just pushing on it, moving on. So, they making a fight of it right now. One of these teams probably not going to get swept, but at the end, it's difficult to reverse the thing when you down 3-0. That's pretty bad. But it isn't as bad as our Pelicans, who got wiped out in the first round. So at least these teams got as far as they've gotten. They can build on that into the future. All right, Brian's good to see you. King Logic, good to see you as well in this thing. Appreciate you, fam. What I wanted to go over with y'all tonight in this thing was what's on screen, Mike Clay's 2024 NFL projection guide. Now listen, Mike Clay's projection guide was pretty accurate last year insofar as it's predicting statistics, to be quite honest with you. And I'm going to show you, I always like to do a little preference work. So I'm going to show you what his projection guide looked like last year for of the Saints, and he actually projected the Saints to win 10 games last year, and that would have meant that the Saints would have gotten in the playoffs. But obviously, we know what happened there. They did not. They fell a game short of the playoffs, right? But he picked them to win last year 10 games to get in there far off. I mean, he had some that were almost dead on, so his projections wasn't that bad, to be honest with you. Derek Carr, he had him at 38-59 with 23 touchdowns against 12 interceptions. The actual, if you look at some of the actual statistics that Derek Carr had, it was actually 38-78, and he had 25 touchdowns versus 8 interceptions. So, like I said, not bad projecting. Actually, a little bit more, 3 interceptions off here or there, but the yardage was almost spot on, and and that's difficult to do when you starting the season off. Now, of course, he had Derek Carr missing 2 games. Derek Carr didn't miss any games last year, although he should have been set down because the guy was really busted up pretty bad. But these projections, if you look at some of them, they wasn't very bad. I mean, in terms of his statistics, his projections on stats, which a lot of people don't really do. That's why it's interesting to me that he did it. So this is 2020. Actually, this is 2024 statistics. If you go back to 2023, I'm saying, let me put that up again. Yeah, last year, 2023, he had 38-59, 23 touchdowns to 12 interceptions, and his actual mark was 38-78 with 25 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. So that wasn't bad. And of course, this is what he had last year. Remember, this was done prior to the season. But, you look at Alvin Kamara, he had him at 666 yards with 4 touchdowns. Of course, the mark for Alvin last year was 694 yards, and he had 5 touchdowns. So like I was saying, man, this little dude here either got a crystal ball or something up, but he was actually pretty damn good with his stat projection in terms of looking at the 2023 stats. So it wasn't bad. He had Jamal Williams at 649. Of course, Jamal Williams finished with 306 yards, so he was off on that. But some of the stuff that he was actually pretty damn good. His 2023 projections had Chris Olave with 77 catches, over 1,100 yards and 5 touchdowns. It actually turned out to be Chris Olave had 87 catches for 1,123 yards with 5 touchdowns. So as you can see, not bad projection on some of the higher up players that happened in terms of his projections. So it wasn't bad, to be honest with you. So he predicted last year that the Saints, he also has some of the score prediction here in the right corner there. He picked the Saints to have 10 wins and finish in the NFL rank at number 8. Of course, the Saints did not get what we thought they should have got. And like I said, they woefully underperformed last year. And like you said, showed up the offensive line. He showed some of that stuff. So it was really interesting to see some of the projections. So I'm gonna share some of those projections with you guys tonight. Then we're gonna bounce up out of here. Yeah, it's pretty difficult for you to make stat projections during a year, and I like a lot of his stuff ties to like fantasy football stuff like that. But it wasn't like I said, I was looking at some of the stuff. I had to do some research on it. But the guy is not bad. He's not perfect, but he's actually pretty decent at doing this. So what's up, Dr. Drew? How you doing, sir? Nola, baby, Kevin, what's happening, bro? Good to see you. Dana, JT, much love to the fam. Appreciate y'all popping in. Hope y'all doing pretty good. As well, OG says Q, it might end up being Boston and Dallas in the NBA Finals next week. That's if Indiana and Minnesota don't wake up and win a game. Yeah, I think even if they win a game, OG, it's probably still going to be the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's incredibly difficult to, rally 3 behind. You got to take a game by game approach, and you need the team with the foot on the gas, like a Boston or a Dallas who've been playing really lights out, to kind of let up. I expect one of those teams to get a win. I don't expect them to go all the way back. I think when you go 3 down, that's difficult to recover from. So it's been done before, but I don't think these teams will be able to do that But like I said, the future is bright for both of them. They really stepped their games up. Minnesota did a wonderful job this year. They have a lot to be proud of. Dallas, a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people had Dallas coming out of the West in the Western Conference. Dallas made some trades to help Luka. Remember when the year started off, Luka Doncic was putting a lot of pressure on Dallas. Mark Cuban, Dallas organization. I don't think Cuban's still a guy now. I think he sold his share, um, but yeah, it was Jason Kidd had a lot of pressure because Luka was upset he wanted to win. Boy, they nailed the Kyrie Irving trade. They got Daniel Gatford. They picked up PJ from Charlotte. They did a bunch of really good things to help Dallas get where they are. And Minnesota did a bunch of stuff to get themselves together to the Rudy Gobert trade. Everybody's doing what they're doing. It's just if they can keep them guys together and they play together, boy, they could be something special. So, like I said, man, it's those are two tough teams, and the Pelicans have a lot of work to do once they play those guys next year. I promise you that much. All right, so big ups to the fam, Molly Mall, C Bama, big ups to you. So anyway, let's jump into some of these projections, fam. Like I showed you a few things from last year's projection to show you how accurate this guy was off. He gave the Saints 10 wins, which was a win off. This year in the 2024 New Orleans Saints projections, stats and wins and losses, this is what he has here. And let me see if I can kind of superimpose it to get a little closer than what it is on some of this stuff so y'all don't have to squint y'all eyes to see it. All right, so in terms of the offense goals, you see this is his projections. Mike Clay of ESPN. Derek Carr, he got him playing 15 games. He got him playing 15 games, which means he more than likely saying he might miss a couple of games due to injury. He got him finished with 3,817 yards with 22 touchdowns against 11 interceptions. He got him getting sacked 33 times this year as well. And you can see him ranking Derek Carr as the 25th quarterback in terms of statistics in the league. Also, he lists people who he believes will make the team. So that's also another thing when you look at all of the projections. So it's roster, guys who make the roster, it's statistics, and it's also wins. So it's very in-depth. One of the most in-depth ones that I've seen. And like I said, the guy takes his time on this, and a lot of the stuff wasn't off. Like if you go and look at 2023, like I just did, it'll show you like the stats was like a little bit off here, a little bit off there, but right in around the same ballpark. So it was real interesting. So you got Derek Carr doing what he did. Nathan Peterman, he got him making the team. And then, of course, you look at the running backs, Elvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, Jamal Williams. He has Adam Prentice and Jordan Mims, who's one of the practice squad runners. He got Kamara playing in 14 games, 8K41, 758 rushing yards with 5 touchdowns, and he has 66 catches for 484 yards and 2 touchdowns receiving the ball. Kendre Miller, 310 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns there. Jamal Williams, 341 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. So he has the Saints running back room over 1,400 yards on 347 carries for 9 touchdowns. So you can see that ranking system right there with AK not making the running attack, rushing 1,000 yards. Then you go to the wide receiver situation. You see Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Bub Means, Cedric Wilson, A.T. Perry, and Equanimeous St. Brown is the guys he believes will make the team. And you can look at some of the statistics right there in terms of the receiving stats, that Chris Olave will finish with 86 catches for over 1,200 yards and 6 touchdowns. Very interesting. You see Rashid Shaheed getting 54 catches for 740 yards and 4 touchdowns. Bub Means 28 catches for 218. 18 catches. I'm sorry, 18 catches for Bub for 208 yards and a score. And he got Cedric Wilson 14 catches for 173 yards. So he got basically Bub Means as a third guy. So he got Bub Means stepping up ahead and becoming the third wide receiver with Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed kind of shrinking Cedric Wilson down there, and A.T. Perry. He got A.T. Perry with 4 catches for 43 yards on the season. So he doesn't anticipate A.T. Perry having much of an impact in the wide receiver room, which it depends on A.T. Perry. A.T. Perry has the speed, the size to step up. Like I said, we know Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Bub Means is a really interesting wide receiver. His physicality, route running, He has a degree of speed too. Cedric Wilson is the veteran of the group. So where he sits at, but A.T. Perry is really the X factor there in terms of a lot of people like A.T. Perry. We like Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and A.T. Perry. But can A.T. Perry seize the day? Can he kind of elevate his play per se and step up in that wide receiver room and take possession of the third position? Because it would be cool to see Chris Olave on one side, Rashid Shaheed on the, I mean, not Rashid, A.T. Perry on the other, and Rashid in the slot. That would be pretty phenomenal because A.T. Perry is not just a big guy. He also can run. He's pretty fast for a big guy that's 6'3", 6'4", high pointing the ball, had a lot of good positive plays last year. But usually when you come into the second year, there's that dreaded sophomore year where people tend to struggle. And then A.T. Perry is about to go through that. So we'll see if he can kind of make it out of that thing and seize the day, so to speak. All right, and then of course we go on to the tight end situation. He got Taysom listed as a tight end and used as a flex player, but he has Taysom Hill, man. If you look at Taysom Hill's catches, 30 catches for Taysom on 40 targets for 271 yards and 2 touchdowns. Juwan Johnson, he had him hitting at about 45 catches this upcoming year with 506 with 4 touchdowns there. Foster Monroe getting 16 catches for 180 yards in the score. And you got Tommy Hodson making a team. Not every Dallin Hawker, who a lot of people anticipate, but he anticipate Tommy Hodson, one of the practice squad tight ends, to make the team. So like I said, the tight end position, and it depends on, because I really do think to a degree, a guy like Dallin Hawker can step up and make a way on this team based on if he could pick the system up. And the reason why I say that is because Taysom Hill role will switch. Like you might see Taysom in that role, but somebody got to do that Kyle Juszczyk role. Somebody has to do that Kyle Juszczyk role. And that was a question that we posed before the start of the season. Because if you go back and I watched a lot of the 49ers offense under Kyle Shanahan, and Kyle Juszczyk is a big part of what they do. Like he blocks for them. They slide him out to catch passes in goal line situations. They give him the ball. He's a tremendous blocker for their running back, Christian McCaffrey. So, I mean, the guy is called upon to do a lot. Like I said before, Kyle Juszczyk and Taysom Hill, if you compare the two, them guys are basically almost the same size. I mean, we've seen Taysom Hill play the fullback position before because he did it when he was blocking for Elvin Kamara. But Juszczyk, man, he's a big part of what those guys do out there, man. And you got to if we are going to run this style of system, we're going to need what he brings out here. What that role represents, and I think we got a guy that can do that pretty good. Hold on, give me just a second, fam. Let me pull up his card so you can see what I mean, because I've showed this before, but it's really something when you think about it. Hold on, let me pull them both up, and I'm gonna just compare them because, these guys are. Give me just a second, fam. I'm gonna pull them both up and do a comparison so y'all can see it real time what I'm talking about. Because, man, I was like, wow, man, these damn guys, hold on. These guys could really be like, they could be, hold on, let me see if I can tell you some stuff up. But yeah, fam, it was, I'm like, wow, these guys are right around the same here. They're almost the same. They the same, the same, this, that, and the third. And it's really interesting to watch it. Now they got it listed. I know Taysom is heavier than 220. I've seen stuff where Taysom was like 225, 230. So, but let me show you this before I'm gonna bounce back there. Kyle Juszczyk, Niners, he's the do everything for these guys. He's 12 years in the game, 6'2", 235 pounds from Harvard, right? Big part of what the 49ers do, opens up the stuff for McCaffrey to run and do everything he's supposed to do. Just a hell. I'll say Kyle Juszczyk is the best fullback in the NFL in my opinion. He's just phenomenal. Does everything they do to a T. So you can see 6'2", 235. If we switch over to Taysom Hill, you can see Taysom is another guy. He about in Kyle's 30. Well, I don't know how old he is. I think he's been in the game for 12 years, though. I don't see his age on there, but I know he's somewhere in his 30s, his early 30s. But 12 years in the game, 6'2", 235. You got Taysom 8 years in the game, 6'2". They got 221 here. I remember Taysom was at 225, but I would say between 225 and 230. So, Taysom Hill could do that from BYU. Taysom Hill could do that. He was doing a lot of what, stuff that Kyle Juszczyk was doing. Basically, what I mean by this, like if you go and watch a lot of the footage from Taysom Hill's performances last year, Taysom Hill was basically a player that was doing, was getting the majority of his yardage from being a running back, basically. And what I mean a running back is when Taysom would be behind the center, the ball would be snapped to him and he'll turn into a running back. We didn't see a lot of Taysom Hill last year throwing the football. I mean, let me pull up we could pull up his statistics right here. Let me see if I can pull up his passing stats. He didn't pass much last year. Let me see if they can give me that right quick. His passing stats, Taysom ain't do very much passing last year for the Saints. He really didn't. Let me see here. I wonder if they can give me his passing stats. Okay, look, there you go. 6. He had 11 attempts, 6 out of 11. Right. All the times you've seen Taysom Hill back there trying to pass the ball, right? You've seen him back. That's what I was saying about family members, because they'll witness Taysom as a quarterback behind the center. But out of all those times, through all those games you've seen last year, Taysom was back there as a quarterback. He was 6 out of 11 for the entire season for 83 yards. That's right. Taysom had 83 yards passing the football last year. 83. He had 1 touchdown. He was 6 out of 11, 54.6% accuracy, 83 yards, 1 touchdown, 7.6 yards per throw. 6 out of 11. But if you look at the statistics, and we can do it right here, the bulk of his yardage came by way of him being a running back. If you look at, this is him running, his rushing statistics. 81 attempts for 401 yards. He averaged 5 yards a run, 2 rushes, first down. That's 4 touchdowns that he had doing it like that, right? And it even goes further and shows you his receiving stats. He had 33 catches for 291 yards and 2 touchdowns. So as you can see, the bulk of his stats, like I said, came from him running the ball, not passing or catching, but running the ball. He was basically, in many cases, the Saints, depending on how you look at it, the second or third running back the Saints had. And he was Taysom's a force. So if Clint Kubiak can take Taysom Hill's game and kind of refine it to use it similar to a Kyle Juszczyk, it will be pretty fun to watch, because Taysom can do all that stuff. He's really a runner at heart. And most of those guys, those linebackers and those DBs, they don't want to tackle Taysom Hill. You can see it, because Taysom's violent. He loves the contact. Like, Taysom would take off, and Taysom's not no slow guy. Taysom is a very fast, he's an athlete, even into his 30s. Taysom Hill running, he outruns the linebackers. He outruns most safeties. You got cornerbacks with good speed that chase him down, but those guys don't want to really engage Taysom Hill, because Taysom will lay into you. He will hit you. He will lower his shoulder. Taysom ain't taking the sideline route easily. If he sees 2 tough yards there, he's gonna lower his shoulder against that DB. Yes, that's what Taysom Hill does. And like I said, most of the time he's difficult to cover. So if they could take advantage of that, I think the Saints might be all right with him in that role. Right. So anyway, let's keep it going. Let's go back to this. And, like I said, they're showing Taysom in terms of projection. They got him with 30 catches and not so much here. So when I was looking, I was like, okay, he got him catching the ball, but nothing in the running back room as a runner. And we know that's what he's going to get. We know he's going to be involved in the wide receiver room because he's going to, the running back room, he's going to do it. They're going to use him as a wide receiver. He's going to be a utility guy. He's going to be using the Kyle Juszczyk role. They're going to do all that stuff with Taysom Hill. But like I said, if they look at the tape and the statistics, you would understand that Taysom Hill gets his real yardage, the majority of his yardage, from running the ball as a runner, like I just showed you. All right. So anyway, like I said, some stuff you can disagree on. Like I said, I think some of the projections that he made, he think Bub Means will have a 18 catch performance, and it's a big discrepancy between Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and the third guy, right? And he has both Olave and Rashid Shaheed playing 15 games, but it's a big discrepancy on the third wide receiver and what he will get, so it drops from 54, which is Rashid Shaheed, all the way down to 18 by Bub Means. I don't know if that's going to be the case and we can't say traditionally because Clint Kubiak's coming here. I expect Clint Kubiak to run the ball a lot, but I still expect one of the third wide receivers, whether it's Cedric Wilson or Bub Means or whoever you want to put there. I think it'll be Cedric Wilson. Those guys will be the guys making the tough catches. And over a long season, I could see a guy like Ced Wilson catching like 40 catches, 42, 43 catches as a third wide receiver. And that I don't think he'll be 14 catches on 173 yards for one touchdown, and he played 15 games according to this man's projections. I don't agree about that. I don't agree about Tommy Hodson being the guy unless Hawker's hurt, because I really do think Dalen Hawker's the guy that's going to make this team. I really do, because you got to look at it. Juwan Johnson's coming up on another contract extension that's going to be coming due real soon. Taysom Hill is on the final year of his deal, and Foster Monroe has some issues. He's a little older. So you need a guy in that like a Dallin Hawker, that's a guy that's a athletic guy that reminds me a lot. Now, he said that he likes Travis Kelce. He likes George Kittle's, which is great tight ends to mimic your game after. And that's where he mimics his game after. But when I watched the kid play, I was like, man, this dude reminds me of a more athletic Jeremy Shockey. Like if you guys go back in your memory, because Jeremy Shockey's a tight end they don't even talk about that much. They don't even talk about Jeremy Shockey no more. Like all of the fantastic tight ends that we remember playing, Jeremy Shockey was a beast with the Giants. He was like Travis Kelce before Kelce was there. Now Kelce is just ridiculous. But Jeremy Shockey, they had Tony Gonzalez. You can't forget Tony Gonzalez and what he did. He was just awesome. But Jeremy Shockey was a guy that, as a Who-Dat, when he came from the Giants to the Saints, we loved this game because he had this long hair. He played with physicality. He'd make the ball, he'd catch the ball, and he'd be talking mess and, stuff like that. So we just love Jeremy Shockey's wild style. Well, this guy reminds me, his game reminds me, not saying that he's going to be Shockey, but when you watch the film of him, he kind of puts you in the mind a bit of a young athletic Shockey, Jeremy Shockey. So hopefully that might be the case. Saints have done a wonderful job of finding some undrafted talent. Could Hawker be a guy that could be there? He'll most certainly have an opportunity if he could seize the day. All right, anyway, let's look at some of the return game right here. As you can see, they got Rashid Shaheed with 55 attempts for 1,200 yards and returns. They got Bub Means listed as the kick returner behind him there. No touchdowns. We don't see the Saints getting any touchdowns right there. One special teams touchdown would be cool. We don't often get special teams touchdowns like a kick return or a punt return for a touchdown. Maybe Rashid Shaheed's a guy that can kind of do that for us. We know that Stanley Morgan Jr. is a guy that could bringing in to do that role. Where does he sit in that whole mixture? That's just stuff to talk about. And of course, you look at the kicker, Blake Group A, 27 to 33 for 84%. You see him doing his thing. Lou Hetley will be the punter according to him. 71 attempts, over 3,000 yards punting, 45.1 average there with 28 punts landing inside the 20-yard by Lou Hetley. Me personally, I didn't like how Lou Hetley punted last year. Of course, it was his rookie year. Him and Blake Group A, those young guys. So they got to figure it out. But I think the Saints are not totally sold on them either. They brung in guys to challenge both Group A and Lou Headley for their position. So the Saints don't seem like they quite settled on those guys. They like them, but they got some competition that's coming in who can kick them on up out of here if they don't represent and do what they're supposed to do again. All right, so we shift to the defensive side of the ball. You see Nate Shepard there, 47 tackles, almost 2.6, he said 2.5 sacks right there for Nate Shepard. Brian Bresee, 536 snaps. He gets 34 tackles, 3.6 on the sack. That's what he's thinking. Colin Saunders, 48 tackles, a sack. Jack Heflin. Jack Heflin's another dude that can play football, but, he flashed in training camp last year. Can he do that this year? Now, of course, a lot of people like Christian Boyd. A lot of people like, because really a lot of people's kind of looking at it and saying, man, listen, really Brian Bresee, a lot of people want to see Brian Bresee mature to the point where he's next to Colin Saunders, because that's what most people want to see. Nate Shepard shift to a reserve role, because I think Nate Shepard would be a good reserve DT. I think Brian Bresee, because Bresee and Saunders give the Saints athleticism with the big guys, two strong guys that's very difficult to block. And then you can keep those big guys fresh by cycling Nate Shepard, Christian Boyd, Cam Jordan. You can throw him in there because Cam's going to be in the mix interiorly speaking too at times, but they're going to try to wake up that NASCAR package that we like to see so much on. But you see that they see Christian Boyd's there with 11 tackles right there on the season. So Jack Heflin to him is going to make it. That's interesting to see him thinking Jack Heflin's going to make it. Carl Granderson from the D's. You see 58 tackles from Carl, 7 sacks from Carl. Not a surprise there. Cam Jordan, 4 sacks on 43 tackles from him. Chase Young, 31 tackles, 7.7. So he's looking at Chase Young being a leader of the team sack-wise. But we batting 1,000 if the Saints can pull up with 22. Well, he got 22 sacks right here between the Saints right here. But, he got Isaiah Foskey, got a sack, and Peyton Turner as the bottom guy there, passing Yo's there with 14 tackles as well. He's a part of the interior line look too. So you got Cam Jordan there. You got Cam and Tanu passing Yo. Those guys could kind of switch inside. So the Saints slick side have a lot of versatility defensive wise, that they can utilize. Like Chase Young and Carl Granderson is healthy. Cam could be he'll be used as a third situational guy to kind of spell him, or a guy that comes in there, plays inside. They could put Passanio in the mix with Brian Bresee, Colin Saunders, and Nate Shepard on the inside. Christian Boyd could be bringing up the rear. So it's a lot of ways that the Saints could use these talented defensive players that we have. We just got to stay healthy and keep the pressure on. Maybe we can re-wake the term coming at our opposing offenses in waves and waves of defenders that are fresh. That's something that could really turn the tide, because we've not had that consistent. Like, we have guys like a Peyton Turner, Isaiah Foskey come in here. Those guys get banged up, and it'll drop the overall depth of our defensive line. We need those guys to stay fresh, and hopefully doing it like that, we'll have access to all of those players, everybody staying healthy, and the proper rotations happen. Everybody's fresh, firing off on cylinders, man. We can be able to get that sack total up, but he have 22 sacks on the year. I think we can do better than that. All right, then from the linebacker look, Demario Davis got him penciled in at 120 tackles this year with almost 3 sacks on the season. Pete Werner at 82. Willie Gay, new picked up linebacker, at 61. So you're thinking that Willie Gay won't replace Pete Werner. Remember, that's the thing too. And I don't think this guy knows more in depth about the Saints team than we do. I mean, he's using some statistics to kind of guess at this stuff. So not all this stuff is accurate. But, some of the the well-known players' stats actually could be something based on what we've seen from 2023 in this projection. So it's very interesting. So you can see Kalike Hudson bringing up the rear in the linebacker court. Then, of course, you switch over to the cornerbacks, Paulson Adebo, 81 tackles. He has Paulson Adebo with 81 tackles and almost 3 interceptions on the year. Marshawn Lattimore, 68 tackles, almost 2 picks on the year. Alante Taylor, 52 tackles, a pick and a half. He got him almost there. Kool-Aid McKinstry with 27 tackles and then they got Hugo Amadi as the other guy. So Paulson, Debo, Lattimore, Alante Taylor, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Hugo Amadi brings up the cornerback from the 5 cornerbacks he believes. And then, of course, our safety room, Tyrann Mathieu with 78 tackles, almost 3 sacks there. Hold on here. Let me see. I'm sorry. That's picks. I'm sorry. The picks. You got no sacks, but half a sack by him, but you got almost 3 picks by Tyrann Mathieu. Jordan Howden, our guy in his second year, 57 tackles. Jonathan Abram has 70 tackles, so you got Jonathan Abram in there as a safety with JT Gray, our special team guy, getting 5. So, people ask me about the safety. How do a lot of the family members feel that we kind of still could use some help in the safety room, but he's not accounting for Harris that the Saints picked up as well. Or perhaps he did. He just didn't put him on the active roster. They added him to the team because Harris is a part of this too. Could play cornerback or safety for the Saints. A lot of people saying, "Q, what about some of these other guys bringing them in?" And that's a possibility depending on what the Saints are working with from a cap perspective. So I mean, it's just one of those things that you got to just you think about. Like, man, shouldn't the Saints? Do you think the Saints could pick up one of these safeties? Well, a lot of people was asking me about Simmons, and I'm like, man, Simmons would be interesting, but Simmons doesn't work for cheap. He don't work cheap. If you look up his contract, man, that's why he's there. He's waiting for more money. And right now, according to the cap, the Saints are sitting up with just over 5.7 mil. So let me flash that to you guys so y'all can see for yourself. This is according to Over the Cap Saints rate right now, 5.7 plus. So you're going to take a little bit more than that to get Simmons aboard. But like I said, I think the Saints will probably play it out. But if the guy wants to work for cheap, hey, anything is possible, right? All right, so anyway, that's what it looks like there. That's some of the defense there. And then, of course, you give you a projection of the Saints offensive line with Talise Fuaga at left tackle. He picks Nick Saldiveri to be the left guard with McCoy Ruiz and Penning at the right side. The backups for Fuaga is Landon Young, Shane Lemieux for Nick Saldiveri, Lucas Patrick, Ali Udo, and Ryan Ramczyk. So that's his projection going into the season, which is actually a damn good potential line, to be honest with you. Fuaga, I think Fuaga has a learning curve a bit, but Fuaga is going to be fine. Trevor Penning on the right side, I think Trevor Penning will do a good job on the right side. Now, listen, playing left and right, that's different. Right side, we know about the pressures of it. But like I said, it's a different world when you got a guy to cover the quarterback's blind side. It's a lot of pressure on the guy to do that. Can Talise Fuaga do that? I think he can. Now, he might have a struggle here or there, but you might, like as a Saints offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, you got to do his young offensive lineman a favor. And what that pretty much means is he will have to, help them out with blocks, tight ends, guys shifting that way. So like I said, if it's who would be the running marker? Like if they're going to be a run-based offense, you would think the Saints will run the ball. It'll be 60-40, right? It'll be 60 run, 40 pass, right? That's a heavy run unit. That's not exactly balanced. It's like we're going to run the football. If that's the case, that helps out young offensive linemen because, the majority of offensive linemen can run block. The one that really makes them the money is if that big guy is athletic, is a dancing bear that can move around his feet and block some of these speed pass rushers off the ends. That's when he really makes his money. But if he's a big guy, if you got some of these big guys, like Coach John Benton, offensive line coach, said for the Saints, they believe in or what they operate what he called the ambidextrous offense, which means it doesn't matter which position, which tackle position, in terms that which tackle occupies what position for the Saints. Like it really doesn't mean either way, but it does when you start passing the ball. But running the ball gives confidence to your young offensive linemen. So we can have a Fuaga and Penning on the ends, and Nick Saldiveri takes that left guard position. That's actually a pretty damn good. I like that line because I know each one of them dudes can play. I know Nick Saldiveri could play. Fuaga is talented. He'll be able to play. And Trevor Penning is athletic and mean. He gets some of that confidence back playing that opposite side. Help out the young lineman by running the ball. And we seeing what, and of course, the OTAs come back later on, the 28th of May, later on, a couple of days from now. Matter of fact, yeah. Well, actually, tomorrow. Goddamn, tomorrow the OTAs come back, the 28th to the 29th. I want to say is the OTAs. If that's no 28th to the 30th. I'm sorry, the 20th. So tomorrow the OTAs they come back with the OTAs and stuff like that. We'll be able to kind of look at some of the stuff that they got going on there. But yes, that is something that I think they hitting on it. That's why I talked about it on one of the last streams. I think the Saints got it. I said that, by George, I think they got it. That this could be something special. It all just comes with offensive linemen staying healthy and everybody doing what they're supposed to do, help them young offensive linemen by running the football. That's a big part of it. So this is some of the stuff the man talked about. Also, let's kind of switch over. I think that's everything. I think me add a few more things right here too. Let's look at the projection. You can see right here, you got weekly score projections and projected wins. The Carolina game, you can see right there, you even pick the score 22 to, I guess you say 22-19 or whatever, but I'm gonna just look at the win probability. 61% they beat Carolina, right? Then you got Dallas, 29%. You don't win that game. 47%, you don't win against Philly. 44%, you don't beat Atlanta. 26%, you don't beat KC. So what he has you coming out of the gate, which I spoke about this before, that's a very dangerous stretch of games. And if the Saints are not mentally strong, and like I said, listen, just like we looking at a Dallas, a Philly, Atlanta, and a KC, not so much of an Atlanta, but a KC in the mix. These teams, now we won't see KC until 5 weeks into the season, right? We get them week 5. They'll have a month worth of games to get their stuff straight, which I believe that they won't be mid-season form, but they'll be when you have 4 games of an opportunity to kind of learn each other, depending on how fast the progression is, you might be hitting on some cylinders then. But the Dallas game is going to still be a lot of rust, so that's a winnable game. The Philly game's a winnable game because of the rust. And then right at the month worth of games, the 4 games, we should know what we need to do. So it's all predicated on how fast the Saints offense pick up what Clint Kubiak is putting down. And if we can do that, we can have some success. But if you don't, you can find yourself in a hole very fast. Like Carolina, we expect that to be a win. No disrespect to Carolina, but the Dallas, the Philly, the Atlanta, and the KC games, if the Saints don't win those games, and it don't have to be pretty, but you have to win. You have to, and I said this before, you have to learn and win while you learning. You got to win while you learn it, because you can find yourself in a hole very fast in this schedule. Like you could beat Carolina, you can very well lose 4 games in a row before you see Tampa Bay in week number 6, and Tampa Bay in week number 6 is not a given either. So the Saints going to have to play with discipline. They're going to have to step it up, because this schedule didn't do them any favors, man. It really did not early. So they're going to have to handle their business. Now, according to this ESPN guy, he has the Saints losing those 4 games: Dallas, Philly, Atlanta, and Kansas City. So you're sitting at 1-4 when you go to Tampa Bay, or when you come home against Tampa Bay. Now you do beat Tampa, and then you beat Denver with Sean Payton. So that kind of sets everything right. Then you turn around, lose to the Chargers. You got you losing to the Chargers. You got you sweeping Carolina. He got you beating Carolina. He got you losing to Cleveland, and then you hit the bye week. So right there, let me see what that is. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So is that 6 and 6? So he got you 6. I think that's 6 and 6. He got you 6. Is that 6 and 6? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Was that a loss? Yeah, that's a loss. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He got you beating Atlanta though. 5, 6. Yeah, that's 6. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Is that 5 and 6? I want to say it's 5 and 6. So you're 5 and 6. coming into the bye week, 5-6. Then that's 5-6. So he don't have you beating Cleveland. Got you losing to Cleveland basically 20-17. You do beat Atlanta in week number 10. He got you splitting with Atlanta, just what I said, and sweeping Carolina. He got you losing to Cleveland. I mean, to the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers barely losing to the Chargers badly. So you're in the bye at 5-6. Then you come out of the bye week against the Rams. He got you beating the Rams. You beat the Rams. Then he have you beating the Giants, beating the Commanders. And then he has you, what is that? Losing to the Packers. He got to losing to the Packers. He got you beating Las Vegas. And he got you beating Tampa Bay. So, but he projects that we're going to get 8 wins. But that's not 8 wins, isn't it? He must ain't count this stuff right. Hold on. Let me make sure I get the count total right. Because I'm looking at his team, his win probability versus what he thinks the record. I mean, the thing's going to be. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he got you 10 wins this year. He got you eking out 10. That's weird, man. It's almost the same people I picked him to lose to. But he got you eking out 10 wins right here. But he projected wins at 8.8, which is 9 wins. But I think if I counted this correctly. But then again, I see what he did. He got you there because the Tampa Bay game, he got it basically 50%, a 50-50 game. He don't know who going. I see what he did. He just basically, for the last game of the season, he just threw it up. He's like, I don't know who's going to win this one. So it's a 50-50 game. But basically predicting the Saints to win 9 games, but he's saying 8.8, which is basically 9. So he think you're going to win the same amount of games that he did from last year, according to what he's picking on here. So anyway. So yes, I mean, like I said, it's just something, food for thought to go over and look, because like I said, if you look at the 2023 projection, that was actually pretty solid. He did a damn good job on that projection. So like I said, now I've polled the Who Dat Nation. I asked them countless times, who do you guys think, how many games do you think the Saints are going to win? A lot of people say between 9 and 10 games, because you can basically see the team winning 9 or 10 games. And really it's depending on, like I said, if with the Saints handle the first 5 weeks of the season, that'll be huge. Because if you look at the schedule, you got a Denver game at home. That's a winnable game. You got you have to go to the West Coast, because this is the thing. You got to go to the West Coast for the Chargers and then fly all the way. You know, you go all the way out there on the West Coast to play the Chargers. And then the next game you have, it's just the Carolina game in their building. So you're going from coast to coast. So, you know, you have to watch out and see if they have some travel issues in terms of them getting a little laggy or being kind of road weary to a degree, going from coast to coast and back to back. They ain't really do us no favors sending us out to LA and then have to fly all the way to Carolina in week number 10. So in week number 9. So depending on, you know, if they have some jet lag right there, it's going to be interesting. But listen, if you break it down and look at this schedule, if the Saints handle them first, depends on how they handle those first 5 games, man. That's really the thing, because the Denver game is winnable. They could very well, I think they split with Tampa. They can very well sweep Tampa depending on how they're playing. A lot of people think the Cleveland game is going to be a trap game. I really do think that, because the way it's positioned, that's a big trap game. If you want to pick out the schedule, say, Q, where the trap game at? The trap game is week 11 at home against Cleveland, because you play Atlanta at home the week before, and then you have a bye week behind Cleveland. So the Saints could be taking Atlanta. And remember, this Atlanta game is the second game of the series with Atlanta. So depending on how they play, they're going to put a lot of energy into that game. and then you have Cleveland the next week, and then after Cleveland, a bye week. So we pencil in there, and that's why I say you got to watch out for that Cleveland game. That'll show me the Saints are really focused if they can take care of Atlanta and then beat Cleveland and go into the bye week. Then they come out of the bye week against the Rams, and then they have the Giants and Commanders, which are two winnable teams because they're young teams. I don't know what the Giants are going to do with Daniel Jones. They got Malik Neighbors there and a few other pieces, but I really don't know what the Giants are going to do. A couple of years ago, they were something else. This year, they kind of fell off. Do they return to what they were? We don't know. Washington, the Commanders with Jaden Daniels. I know him running around there. That won't be won't be easy. But in the end, you got to say, man, if we handle up, you never know, though, man. The Green Bay game, a lot of people think we don't beat Green Bay. We should beat that Green Bay team. I know they're good. Green Bay, last year, we should have beat Green Bay. We should have beat Green Bay last year. So it's a lot of coulda, woulda, shoulda, and it's based upon the Saints playing better football, more balanced, more aware, more intelligent football, more high IQ football, less error-prone football with Clint Kubiak at the helm. And if they're playing a smart brand of football like we anticipate them doing with Clint Kubiak, we played all these interviews and you heard what they were saying, and they were talking just like the Sports Coma, just like the great Saint Tank was talking, even down to the offensive line, this, that, and the third. We were saying that weeks prior. So if they're actually implementing some of them strategies, fam, they could very well do something popping. But like I said, you got to wait and see because, man, weeks 2 through 5 will tell you everything. That's a lot. Them people clumped a bunch of really difficult teams together and threw Atlanta in the mix, along with then you got KC, and then it's a mix of home and away games. So you're traveling here or there while they didn't do the Saints no favors early on. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Saints deal with the first 5 weeks of the season. Hopefully they don't end up in a 1-4 hole, man. That could be problematic, fighting your way up for the entire season, man. That is, hopefully we don't end up like that. But anyway, just remind ourselves a bit of our coaching staff, man. We all know who Dennis Allen is, but just kind of focus on who these guys are. We talk on the offensive side of the ball. Clint Kubiak obviously is the guy that we know all about what he's going to do. We also know about Andrew Janoku, who's the QB coach. Tight end Clancy Barone, he's the tight end coach. Clancy was here last year. Looking forward to what he do with this group of tight ends that we got. Offensive line coach John Benton was a guy that we heard 5 minutes from. Got to hear more from John Benton and his philosophy with the offensive line because that's going to tell the tale. The offensive assistant is Mr. Jari Evans. He's there. We got a lot of young faces for the family members who might not know some of these guys. Senior offensive assistant Rick Denson is here. He's a senior offensive. He'll work with Clint Kubiak there. So you got Rick Denson here. He also worked with Gary Kubiak. Rick Denson worked with Clint's father. So you're bringing in a veteran to help him out here, along with Andrew Janoku. Running backs coach is Derek Foster. Remember I talked about Derek Foster. I played interviews from Derek Foster. Super cool dude. Like I said, there was a lot of turnover in the offensive room in terms of our coaches. These are the faces now. They got a couple of guys that you kind of, are familiar with. Clancy Barone from last year, but a lot of Jari Evans, but a lot of these guys, this is all kind of turnover. Like I said, it's like 75% the offensive room basically turnover. So Derek Foster, the running backs coach, is there. We talked about Janoku. You got Mike Martinez as the assistant coach there. Assistant wide receiver coach is Denarius McGee. He works with Coach Keith Williams, who's another guy there. Jordan Traylor turned down a job with Denver, I think last year, to come back to the Saints, and offensive assistant Kevin Petrie. So these are the offensive faces that we will know. And of course, I think eventually you'll see when John Gruden finally gets through all of his stuff, I can see the Saints kind of creating a position for John Gruden to step on this, step in here as a special assistant or some crap like that once he gets through his legal situations with the NFL, because the way it's hedging out, and we covered this on the previous stream, the way it's hedging out is that the NFL is going to end up winning the process, where arbitration will be the move that happens, and like I said, that was the decision made by the court, and Gruden's appealing the decision. So he's hoping that it plays itself out front of everybody because he wants to quote burn the league down end quote. But the thing is, you can't burn the league down when the guy that has access to all of the gasoline in the mattress is Roger Goodell. And Roger Goodell in the NFL is they're a team that built up an uncanny amount of political leverage. They're $1 billion league. They have a lot of people in their pockets, and they can afford to pay people whoever they want. And like I said, they have they have a lot of leverage. So John Gruden's trying to do his thing. Um, it's so corrupt, it's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, man, we already knew that, right? I'd just be fun watching them go at them because you never know. You might have a group of judges said, you know what, man, let's see what you got right here and air it out in front of everybody. League don't want you to know they dirty business. They don't want to know, let you know all the stuff that's going on, because really John Gruden has something that can really destroy Roger Goodell and bring him and others down that's being protected. There he really has something. He had, man, listen, John Gruden got something that could take. He got something that could. That's why Goodell's so scared of this. But I'm telling you, he has something that will bring Goodell down, and Goodell's gonna fight the only way he know how to. Anyway, let's go defensive coaches. Joe Woods is the guy. Like I said, man, I would love to see Joe Woods as a guy that takes over the play calling for the defense. I would like to see Dennis Allen kind of graduate to becoming a full-time head coach. And what I mean by that is allowing Joe Woods, who's the defensive coordinator, to call the plays on defense. He's been working with Dennis Allen for years. That allowed Dennis Allen to have more of a expanded view of watching the team. That's one of the last things that I would love to see happen. I would love to see that. If all the things that we talked about over the years that's finally coming true this year, one of the more ultimate things that you'll hear an announcement from Dennis Allen saying, "Hey, family," or saying to I've decided that we're gonna let Joe Woods call the plays this year, and I'm gonna focus on being more of a head coach. If you hear that, then y'all know what time that is. But that is one of the final things that I want to hear Dennis Allen says. Like, listen, I'm going to let Joe Woods call the defensive plays, and I'm going to focus more on just oversighting the entire team, watching, making sure everything goes the way it's supposed to. So instead of just focusing on the defense, I'm going to focus on the entire unit. Joe Woods is more than capable. And if he says that, man, I'm like, man, we good. We good now. We good now. Just stay out of everybody's way and just people just give you updates. Let these guys do their job, because I think he got the right collection of people. Just stay out the way, let them do their jobs, and just let them brief you on what they're going to do. All right. So anyway, Joe Woods, the defensive coordinator. Defensive assistant is Matt Giordano. Senior defensive assistant is Peter Guenter. Defensive line coach is Coach Ty Grantham. Y'all know. Defensive assistant Adam Gistrick. Linebackers coach is still Michael Hodges. Remember him. Secondary coach is Marcus Peterson. Pretty good coach. And the pass rush specialist is still Brian Young. So we still have a lot of the same defensive people. Adam Gistrick was another guy that was added along with Giordano to the team. And of course, you look at the special teams coach, we still have Coach Darren Rizzi and Phil Galliano operating as the heads of the special team. So pretty much, like I said, not too much shaking defensively in terms of turnover, but offensively is where you see all of the turnover with a new offensive coordinator, new offensive line coach, new running backs coach, new wide receivers coach, a senior assistant, senior assistant there. You see all of that happen there. So are these the right collection of people to lead the Saints offense and team, period, to the next level? Are these the right collection of players to help out with Dennis Allen at the top? Is it? Time will tell. I think so. I really do think so. I think they finally got it right with this personnel, especially offensive, because you just need accountability, somebody that knows what they're doing. I think John Benton and Clint Kubiak, Andrew Janoko, and others will handle that business. Let me tell you something. All right, fam. So anyway, just to brief you guys to let you know that OTAs start tomorrow, and it'll be to the 30th, so we'll have more on that. Tomorrow will be Tuesday's our Patreon show, so we'll be going into that. All right. So, any questions or comments, fam? Much love to y'all. Appreciate y'all being here. Please feel free to throw any questions or comments in the chat, and I'll try to pick them up. Shout out to the family members watching the stream, brother Wallace. I see you, bro. Shout out to you, brother Rock. How you doing, sir? All right. Much love. It's let's see anyway. Marley Mall, shout out to you. Black Major, shout out to you. T Rob, shout out to you. Bro, Will says two best groups, cornerback, linebackers, then not sure. All right, brother Gundam. Shout out to you, says Big Q. You call the Saints got to be mentally strong first 3 games. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. That first 5 games, man. I know the Carolina game, but then those other games, man, those are gonna be real interesting games. Gotta watch out for it. Gotta watch out for it big time. All right, Kevin says, if we look back at 2023 season, we should have had a better record. Q. Carmichael was a high school coordinator. Well, I mean, like I said, he was struggling, but it's a certain amount of blame you give to him, but it's also blame you give to the head coach. He picked that guy. So if that guy is struggling, the head coach got to go over there and say, what can I help you with? And if he's because a pressure is a part of it. You can't pay guys and then say, we ain't gonna put no pressure on. You know, you have to put pressure because it's pressure on everybody else. You can't operate in a bubble or a vacuum. That's the problem with the Saints right now. That's why I was saying that there needs to be and there was a show we did on the Pelican Postgame Report talking about reforming the Saints, so to speak, of reorganizing the structure of the team. Because if you look at, and maybe this would be the best thing I can do in terms of just show you guys what I mean here. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up the hold on, let me see. Here we go. Yeah, there you go. It's perfect. All right, so like I said, this is the head of the team, Gail Benson. And Tom, of course, rest in power to him. And then these are the senior executives. And this is the brass. This is the football brass. As you can look at it, you got all these vice presidents, but these are business people, man. These guys don't know nothing about no football. The highest football brains in the game is this guy. And he's both the VP and general manager. Mickey Loomis has too much power, man. That's what I was saying. It's like, well, what you mean, Q? Why would you want to kind of strip him of his? And then you see Kai Harley right here. Kai Harley's assistant general manager, vice president of football operations. We need him to go up to becoming the actual general manager. Because if you look up here, this is the problem with the Saints. Gail doesn't know football. She doesn't know football or basketball the way she's supposed to. That's a hindrance on the organization because she over relies on what Tom Benson left her. And Tom Benson, God bless his soul, is gone. You need he left her a bunch of people to listen to, but Gail has to have her own vision. Tom's not here anymore. She's going to have her own vision and her own people that she could trust. And I know she likes Mickey Loomis, but you're going to have to bring people in here to set it straight because some of these guys know she don't know football and they're taking advantage of her. Dennis Lauscher is and this is what I was saying about reformatting the team, the highest echelon of the team. This will make the Saints more competitive and more of a serious football organization if you do this. Because Dennis Lauscher, or Lucia, I think his name is Lauscher. Dennis Lauscher shouldn't be the president of the Saints. He should be the chief financial officer. He should be the chief executive, the chief financial executive, or the chief executive officer, the CEO. You see what I'm saying? Like Gail they call her the governor. She's the owner and chief executive officer. They call her that. But really, she's the money leader. But that guy, Lauchia, should be more of like a vice chief vice. He should be like the vice chief executive officer. You got it. And then reason why I want to take the president position away from him and give him make him the vice, the chief vice or whatever, the chief executive officer or the chief financial officer. Like you have chief CEO and then you have the CFO. Maybe he should be that. Maybe he can be something on that level or a vice underneath her. The reason why is I want to detach Dennis Lauscher from having the president of football operations because that's what he has. And he doesn't know enough about football or basketball. And he has the same position for the Pelicans that he has for the Saints. You see, you need to take that away from him, not take his job away, but give him a job that's fitting for what he does. He's the businessman. If you got a toothpaste or a trucking company and you want to make your trucking line the official trucking line or toothpaste or whatever for the New Orleans Saints, you go talk to Dennis Lauscher. He's a businessman. He keep the business, the money coming. But in terms of football, the highest brain in the business is Mickey Loomis. And he's he's holding two positions. He has the vice president, executive vice president job, and a general manager position. He doesn't need both of those jobs. I think Mickey is a very good VP. He really is. But in terms of a general manager, he's stale, and he has the line between VP and general manager has been muddied severely to the point where you can't, in most cases, you can't tell the difference, because Mickey Loomis is supposed to be doing maybe being an executive VP and being a general manager could be too much. That's why he doesn't do in-season evaluation. But regardless of the point, you're supposed to know that you can't do both and relinquish that job to somebody to help out the team. And if you don't see it, Lausch is supposed to see that by doing evaluations. Dennis Lausch is not doing any evaluations on Mickey Loomis. At the start of the season, he said Mickey Loomis is doing a great job. Was his term. I'm like, a great job for what? You've missed the playoffs for 3 damn years in a row. What are you talking about? Good job. What are you talking about, man? But see, that's what I'm saying, because when you study, the guy is a businessman, so he's looking at the books. The books look great. Mickey's doing a bang up job in terms of money, because he's spilling out the propaganda and keeping fools paying him. As opposed to you demanding more from the team, we steadily pumping and rewarding bad behavior, which you're not supposed to do. So it's not really on Mickey as much as it is all on you. But that's why I've been telling people to stop doing that. Make them earn your money. And what I mean by earn your money is make them show that they're serious about winning by winning, and then you reward them. Like, and this stuff came out was a perfect example with the Saints paying the $11 million. That's table scraps to the Saints. The Saints, it swims in billions of dollars in the city and the state. They get billions of dollars. They get massive tax breaks. They don't pay rent. All the utilities are paid by taxpayer money. All of the stuff is controlled by unelected boards that run the convention center and the dome. And I mean, like, where these people come from? Who told you can do that? And where is that money going? That's never questions that are being asked that we supposed to be asked. That's a whole nother podcast. But you got to make people accountable. They have to be accountable. If you're accountable, they have to be accountable. Everybody's accountable. That's the universal law. Everybody's accountable. And if you're going to take this money and these resources, you will be held accountable. You won't get away with failing us and expect us to keep funding you. That's real game and real talk. If you allow them to do that, that's on you. We have allowed so much in this country to turn upside down anyway. The politicians, the inside trade, and not get in trouble, do all this other stuff, vote themselves raises and all this kind of craziness, and then do all that. That's mostly the people's fault. Because we sit up there and listen to them. You ain't supposed to be listening to them. You're supposed to be checking them people every chance you get and researching them to find out what they're really doing. It's up to you to keep them accountable. You can't let them keep them accountable. No, they'll steal everything you got and lie to you and say this is a great deal, and it's a terrible deal. They do it all the time. They sit up there and say, you heard the mayor say, man, the Saints is the city and the state. We have a great deal going on. What great deal for who? Like I said, man, it's all about this. My vision is to make sure, like in the end, that if you raise up our visions as a collective, we can have these people paying us, man. We really could, because the money they taking is really your money to make billions of dollars. You're supposed to be getting something for that shit. You can't take taxpayer money and fund a private enterprise and don't give the people that's funding you their money in some kind of way. Tickets, merch, something. I'm telling y'all, people need to wake the hell up. I'm talking truth here. But anyway, that's what I'm saying about Mickey Loomis. The whole situation and Mickey Loomis thing is he needs to give up the general manager position. Give it up. Keep the VP job. Look at the rest of these guys up here. None of these guys don't know anything about football, family. The next biggest football mind that you got is assistant general manager under Mickey Loomis is Kai Harley. You got Jeff Ireland, who runs the scouting department. I would say Jeff Ireland's probably the other guy. But really, truthfully, if you want to look at that, a guy that really should be the general manager should be Jeff Ireland. He was the general manager before with the Dolphins. He's done it at that level, and he has way more credentials in terms of that than Mickey Loomis does. But nobody's forcing him. And then Mickey Loomis said he's going to do it for the next 10 years. And Mickey Loomis is a man in his 60s. He got to be the oldest dude doing the general man. I don't think nobody older than Mickey Loomis as a general manager of a football team right now. And the Saints let it happen because the Saints don't have enough football people at the top of the team. They're over relying on Mickey Loomis too much. And if Mickey Loomis start tripping, the team start struggling, then he's just gonna just make a bunch of excuses. But we need more people up there that's younger and accountable to the people and football savvy people. They have plenty of them. We really need to reformat the structures of both the Pelicans and the Saints because there's not enough people at the top that knows their respective sports. It's not. We need more people at the top. I've said on another show, I think Swin Cash should be the vice president of basketball operations for the Pelicans. She's a winner. She's a Hall of Famer, and Women's Hall of Famer. She's won Olympic medals. She won in college. She won 3 championships, and probably the woman's a perennial champion, man. She wins everywhere. And we got David Griffin sitting up there. David Grifter, man, come on, man. Come on, man. Don't let me talk about it. I'm talking true talk because that's how you become valid, man. That's how you build a team that's worth something that can last the duration. But what we got here is people that's just making money off the family base. And it's cool to make money, but you going to do what you're supposed to do. You're not going to just take money and don't give nothing in return but a bunch of goddamn excuses. Don't work like that. All right, anyway, shout out to the fam, man. Let me get off that. All right, what's up, LaShawn? How you doing, baby? How you doing up there? Much love to you. Good to see you too. How you doing? Everything okay? All right, Jay Black. What's up, Jay Black? So if we get rid of all the crooks, there won't be. Nah, it'd be an NFL, bro. It'd just be a lot cleaner. It's just you got to give them a reason. You can't trust them to do it, man. They just gonna bank off you, man. That's how it's set up, man. They think they hiding everything. All the stuff is out there. But they think you go to this school or that school and they tell you how the world really work and then lie to everybody else. It's not everybody's like that. It's a certain contingent of people that believe everything they say. But man, listen, man, it's time, bro. It's time. It's time to change a lot of this stuff around. The people are here, man. We need to wake this up. All right. Good to see y'all, man. All right. So much love to the fam. Kevin says he says Gail not having trustworthy successor spells trouble. State need to purchase the team they have. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. The state can purchase the team. She doesn't have an heir. She doesn't have any children. The plan was Tom Benson was to give it to Rita, which is daughter, but they're totally off of it. They would have to end up selling the team. But there's a plan in place, though. That was decided on a couple years ago. And the NBA and NFL approved the succession plans, as they were called. You can actually Google those. The plans and pull up the documentation. They'll show you all of that, man. The succession plans will happen. So, yeah. All right. She said, okay, she moved to Texas. Everybody moving out there to Texas. All right. Shout out to you, baby girl. Good to see you. All right. Temper says Loomis is in the wheel of time, and that's why she can't touch him. No, I ain't saying, well, he'll still get what he got from Tom Benson, you see. But it's her team. She has control over the team. I don't expect Gail to do anything with Mickey Loomis. That's the problem. Dennis Lauscher is not going to do anything with Mickey Loomis because he doesn't even know football like that. He'll talk it and say it's such and such, but he already done given those points. Mickey Loomis is in a position right now where he can do whatever he wants to do. He can talk crazy to the family base, and Lauscher don't check him. Gail doesn't check him. And the reason being is because Lauscher don't know as much as he's supposed to know. He got a position as a businessman, and that don't have nothing to do in terms of him knowing football on the field. Knowing business, that's different. But there's supposed to be a president of football operations that knows football. A guy like John Lynch for the 49ers. They got guys out there. They have guys out there we can go and find, like a John Lynch, that was a player that became a part of the executive program that's there that can help the team at the highest level, that can bring a higher IQ into the building. That's what I'm talking about. But like I said, I'm showing you all these people, all these guys, these are business people. These are businessmen and women. The only guy that's not a businessman right there is Mickey Loomis. He's VP. Now, Mickey does do business too. And what he does, because he oversees a lot of things. But I think that's a problem. That's why I'm like, listen, bro, just go be the VP. Get a general manager job to Kai Harley. He's supposed to have given it to Terry Fontenot when Fontenot was up there. They should have gave it to him then. But the guy being greedy with the position, he holding on to it, and Lauscher or Gill's not forcing him to come up off of it. So I mean, like I said, it has to happen where these are his guys. These are Tom Benson's people. Gail has to have her people too. Now she can bring some of a person that she trusts in here just to make sure everybody doing what they're supposed to be doing. You don't just be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna trust all of these people. No, it's my team now. My team, I'm gonna make a few changes here. I'm gonna make a few changes, but we'll see. Devon said, no kid. What's she been doing? Well, listen, bro, sometimes it's like that, man. She was an interior decorator, and sometimes, man, Gail didn't find a match. It's like that sometimes, man. Listen, it's like that, man. Sometimes you don't find a match. Not everybody, you might have stuff like that. I ain't gonna get too explicit with it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know how this go. She might not have found the right match, and when she met Tom Benson was an old man, man. He was kind of, I don't know, he was past all that. He wasn't healthy, he wasn't totally healthy, he was kind of a older man. I don't think he was doing all that kind of old stuff. I mean, he wasn't very healthy, So I ain't gonna get into the people personal life. All I'm saying is you got to find your match. That's how it works, But it is what it is. All right. Yeah. Taylor says that's why they want John Gruden. Yeah, well, that would be awesome to get John Gruden. I think he'll come in at the assistant coach level, like down there, like what a Rick Dennison is. Like, yeah, Rick Dennison coming in here, stuff like that. But man, like I said, I don't know. She might have one. You never know. She might have one. You never know. Some of those folks like to keep their stuff private, man. She might have one. It's the death do us part, right? And the man he done traveled up to the next level. You would hope. You would hope, so I hope he went the right way. All right. Yeah, she said, yes, the money is good out here, especially if you work. Okay, good, baby girl. Good to hear that. All right. Okay, you too, sweetheart. Good to hear from you. I haven't heard from LaShawn in a while, man. Good to know it. Good to hear from you. All right, English says you put them on the run queue. Put them on the run queue. That's why it pays so quick. They want to be. Yeah, y'all see how fast that came up. Man, I've been telling y'all about that for years. It's very ironic, like a lot of the stuff that we talked about. He ain't gonna answer the phone, Kev. Them dudes ain't answering that phone. But listen, you don't hear from him often, Bob. But when that $11 million came up, he made sure he got one of them beat writers from New Orleans website to write an article about what happened and get his message out there. Like I said, fam, they don't want you looking into none of that. When stuff like that pop up, they hurry up and get it out of the way. They got that done very fast. When the last time you seen the Saints move that fast as an organization? When they got that paid, like as soon as it came out, it was paid the next day or the day after that. It wasn't even 48 hours, and they had that money paid. They don't want you to know about none of that. And I've been saying this for years. I remember they had reporters, beat writers, man. I want to say Jeff Duncan was a guy back in the day that used to write on that. That was old school Jeff Duncan. The old school Jeff Duncan, man, used to write about stuff like that. He really did. I don't know what happened to him. They might have lobotomized him or something, or replaced him with aliens or something. I don't know. But he used to write about that. Jeff Duncan used to write about the stuff that I would tell you about. He would write articles criticizing the business deals between the Saints and the state because they were robbing the people and the states were helping them. They were getting a cut of the proceeds and they were passing this stuff off like it was a great deal for everybody. And it wasn't. But he used to talk about that. He used to break it down. They used to cover it, that it wasn't a good deal for the city and such and such. They want you to spend all this money, 200 something. That's a lot of bread, fam. The Saints are responsible for like $100 million, but it was over $500 million. The Saints was only paid 100 million of it, 115 of it, whatever it was. Who paying the rest of it? Your ass. You paying the rest of it. So how I pay for something, it ain't even their buildings. You pay $500 million to renovate the Superdome and the arenas so that they can make more money. The suites and all that. Now they're asking for a brand new arena for the Smoothie King Center. NBA, they're saying, well, we need the brand new. Most arenas nowadays are $1 billion. They're $1 billion. The Clippers just built this arena, this big, fantastic arena out there. That was, it was more than $1 billion, but most like it used to be like 400 million, 300, stuff like that. It's $1 billion to build a brand new arena nowadays with all the stuff in it. Where that's supposed to come from? You. Then they leak it to the press. Oh, we want a new building. We're not viable. Then you're going to start hearing the talk about viability. The Pelicans are ranked dead last in the NBA in terms of such. You're going to start seeing that pop up. Even though you watch the games, you see the seats are packed. What are you talking about? Viability, the seats, the people packing the stadium. They're buying the gear. I remember when the Pelican black jerseys came out, the NOLA, the skeleton jerseys, the black jerseys with the lime green. When that came out, they sold out. That was their most, they sold a lot of that merch. And they continue to sell a lot of gear. But they don't pay a lot of taxes. They get all the concessions, listen, man. And those are locked. Like, Q, how you know? Because why else would you lock it? That's what they're locking it for. They don't want you to know that. So when stuff like that pops up, Saints got that shit paid lickety split, 11 million quick. Go ahead and play that because they don't want you to know what they're doing. Just telling you the truth, man. I'm just giving you game, man. I'm telling y'all. But it is what it is. All right. So anyway, Kevin says, and Alex Anzalone tiptoed through the tulips, came back and played well for Detroit Q. Yeah, I know. I remember that. T-Rob says, Q, I'm just ready to see how they do these first 5 games. They're going to have to prove themselves to me. I'm with you. But like I said, I've told y'all the truth. I done gave y'all the truth. I done laid it out. Now, when I started seeing the things they were doing and how they were speaking in these interviews and the people that they hired, when they hired them, I went and researched them. Remember when they first talked about these people and they hired them? The Saints kept these guys away from the Who Dat Nation for months. So what I did was, when they hired these people, I immediately started to go and do research to find out who these people were. Clint Kubiak, John Benton. So what I did was I found several clips. I ain't play everything, but I grabbed clips and put them on the Sports Coma and said, listen, fam, this is the guy they just hired. Listen to what he says. Put one in the chat if you remember me doing that. But what I was attempting to do was get a philosophy of who these guys were, because the Saints took a very long time before we finally had an opportunity to hear from a John Benton. It was weeks, months later before we had an opportunity to be able to get him. You still only got John Benton for 5 minutes talking about what the offensive line is going to do. Clint Kubiak for 5 minutes, 7 minutes here. You still ain't got these guys sitting down for 10 and 15, 20 minutes at a time to explain what they're going to do. And these are some of the guys that are very important to the direction of what the Saints are going to do, because if the offense we know the defense is going to be fine. There is no questions about how the Saints defense will look. The Saints defense will be fine. I really do think that. The problem will be, if there is a problem, the Saints offense has to be able to not only keep the turnovers down and the miscues down, but they're going to have to score points. They're going to have to score points. They're going to have to run the football. And like I said, I don't think Derek Carr becomes this next level quarterback. I don't think that. But what I do think is that if the percentages are, because this is what Clint Kubiak said in one of his first interviews, is that he wants the Saints to be, he wants to run the football. He wants to establish an identity as a running team. This is what he was talking about in some of his first interviews with the people. So if that's indeed the case, that gives you, and if you go back and look at what the 49ers offense did, and we know it wasn't exactly a balanced offense. Like, they would run through different formations, but then Brock Purdy would go out there and execute and do his thing out of the play action, and it was really efficient. I'm not expecting Derek Carr to become Brock Purdy and his efficiency go through the roof and he just boom, bam, beam. I just want to I just want him to just get on time with the running attack, make the throws when it's time to make the throws, and not stand in the pocket and hold the ball too long. And I don't think that's going to happen a lot, because Janoko and Clint Kubiak are paying attention to Carr and how long he's holding the ball. That was all this stuff that we talked about on the show with Carr last year. The progressions, we talked about his progressions. All we won those progressions. We talked about him holding the ball too long. We talked about him staring people down on the left, and people are running either wide open or single covered on the opposite side, which is why wide receivers and players were frustrated. We seen that on the all 22. We talked about that all the time. Now we see Andrew Janoko, Clint Kubiak, and others are paying attention to that. They are paying attention to what we talked about because the Saints didn't pay attention to it last year. They didn't do film study like they were supposed to. I'm telling y'all, we talked about this during last year's shows. And up until this, I was like, how are you doing film study every week and Derek Carr's doing the same thing that he did the week before? He's staring down people. What kind of film study are these people doing? They're not studying the film. I kept saying that because if you're studying the film, it's not hard to study film. You look at it and you see what you're doing and then you fix it. But Derek Carr would go and study film and never mention at all, not even once that I remember. And I've seen all of his stuff. Man, you know what? I got to stop staring down people, man. You know, I've been having a bad issue staring people down. You know I was watching over here. I was just standing down. I got to really go through my progressions. I got to stop doing that. Never said that, not once. Like, how are you studying all this film and you don't see that you're staring people down, and that you're staring people down is frustrating your wide receivers? You don't see that? And then he gets up there. I don't know why they're upset with me. What? Then that pretty much, I don't think you're crazy. I think you're not studying film. That's what I think. Not in a way what you're supposed to be doing. But that's not happening this year. These guys are coming in. They are serious. They're about setting the timing. They're about going through the progressions. They're about making sure the ball, you find the right collection of people. And John Benton says that these guys, they got the right collection of offensive linemen to operate his run block schemes. So if that's indeed the case, Benton and all these other guys are serious guys. If they feel like they got the talent, I got to go with it. So like I said, I love the way they talking. I like the energy. I like the pace of how they getting in and out of their sets. Even Dennis Allen talked about it. I'm just going to love seeing how things progress moving forward. But this was the foundation that we wanted to see them have. What are they talking about? What are they concentrating on going into all of this practice stuff? And when I seen what they were doing, and then Dennis Allen himself talked about accountability and attention to detail in the same sentence, which is something that he didn't talk about pretty much all of last year. And that was a big problem with the Saints, was accountability and attention to detail. So I'm very enthused about the floor in which the Saints offense sit at. So like I said, I don't think the defenses are going to, I think the defense is going to be fine. I'm just focused on offense. And I think the offense, man, if they can stay serious and if they can run the football and get into the play action, I think we can have success. We won't be perfect, but we should be able to have enough success to be able to take care of business. If we're serious, we cut the miscues down, we execute like we're supposed to, and we play with a serious mentality, we should be able to take care of business. So, and then also, how does it look too? Do we operate more club Saints? Because I remember there was games where the Saints, we don't need a disco ball in there and smoke machines and doing all the dance and stuff. You ain't doing nothing. One win. Let's just treat it like, where we got the win, but let's start dancing when we get a playoff win. When we get, bring out the disco ball when we make the playoffs. Bring out the disco ball and the smoke machines when we win a playoff game. Do that, but winning a regular game and celebrating like it's all that, man, let's cut that out, man. Let's act like we've been there before. You don't need Club Saint running all around there and 3 years straight of Club Saint, no playoffs. We gotta cut Club Saint out, man. We gotta cut down Club Saint. We gotta get rid of them goddamn smoke machines, man, and them disco balls until the time when it's appropriate. You get me? All right. Kevin says, take the 50 million hit and cut Carr. Let these young QBs battle out. A rookie QB can win in Kubiak's system. They're not going to do that, bro. Number one, they're not going to take the hit for Derek Carr. That'd be a massive cap hit. That won't make no sense for them to do that. And plus, Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis are not going to give you the satisfaction of watching them choose a bad quarterback, paying him $150 million, and then cutting him so that you can lambaste them even further. They won't give you that. I've told you that before about that and other players. All right, they'll never do that. Kevin says, I would like what Clint, he said, I like what Clint is saying, vastly better than Dennis Dumbo. Let's see how this works with Dennis' personality is mid. Well, that's the thing. If it's the offense guides the team, and if the offense is Clint Kubiak or folk, centered, and not just Clint Kubiak, but all those guys have that temperament. They have the same serious temperament. That Clint, like a dry wit Clint, like you listen to Andrew Janoko, same personality. Dennison, we ain't played Dennison, but go listen to him. Same way. Those guys are about business and about making things happen. So, like I said, I think this time they picked the right collection of coaches finally. And this system could work. We just need to cut the miscues down and we need to execute. The Saints have the talent on the team to run that system. John Benton said so himself, running that offense. We need to get back into running the ball. We need to get that nasty demeanor back. And I think we can do that. And Derek Carr, under the close guidance and tutelage of Clint Kubiak and Andrew Janoko, because he did say that. I played that. When we finally got through all the word salad, we got to the clearing. And Derek Carr did say that, man, listen, they're on me every little play I make. They're saying, yeah, he said that they're on him every little play. Janoko say he want to make sure he get his footwork. They're trying to get him to do what they want him to do, not what he does. Big difference. Now, listen, I know what you did last year, but listen, we want you to do this. And if you do, and that's what he needs to focus on. And he appreciates that because everybody's not looking at him saying, bro, won't you hurry up and learn this? You see, that's a big difference. They're not like last year, everybody was like, man, Derek Carr, man, the pressure was on Derek Carr to learn. Everybody else knew. Derek Carr was the sole person that everybody's looking at. Why this dude don't, is he learning fast enough? He doesn't have that pressure this year. He said that. He even admitted that, like, man, we all learning together. That's good. Because he knows that, like last year, everybody was waiting for him to learn the system so the team could step up. This year is better because that pressure is off of Derek Carr and is on the whole team, that everybody shares that, and that makes a more relaxed Derek Carr. And like I said, the running attack, I don't think the team will be governed by Derek Carr making all this, doing this, all this stuff. He'll have an opportunity for the ball, but I think the Saints will be more of a run-based team, man. That's what I think. So we'll see how it go. All right. So anyway, with that being said, fam, I'm gonna get ready to cut out on that. Divine says, what's up? Divine says the new system will allow Carr to get the ball out quicker. That's what Kubiak's saying, man. They want that ball out of there. They want it out of there fast. Kevin said the O-line is a question mark. Fuaga got to hold up against Myles Garrett and all the right side, the ends. Bro, the rookie gonna struggle. He gonna have some good he gonna have some good moments. He gonna have some bad moments. But you know how you protect your offensive lineman? By running the football. And one thing I know Fuaga can do is run block. So that's what you got to do. You want to neutralize all that, you got to run at those pass rushers. You know how this go. That's what they need to do. Yeah, buddy said they couldn't make the playoffs with a top 10 defense, easy schedule in the league, along with the playing backups. They think they will be better this year with a tougher schedule and the same team. It's not the same team, yeah, buddy. Not the same team, bro. Not the same team. How is it the same team and you got a whole different offensive philosophy? It's not the same team, brother. It's not the same team. It's not. And like you talk about overall philosophy, strategy, what's different from the Saints last year and this year? They hadn't played football yet, but you got to look at the changes. Changes is different offensive system. Yeah, Pete Carmichael here last year, no leadership, lack of accountability, total beta male. You got Clint Kubiak and them in here. A lot of those guys are alpha-minded. They're looking at making the corrections, the attention to details that Pete Carmichael didn't make. They operate with accountability and attention to detail. That's all you need right there as a floor, as a base to build success. You can't win without accountability and attention to detail. That was stuff that I kept talking about and really kind of over and over again to the great think tank. Put one in the chat if y'all remember that. Me just keep going after and over and over and over about accountability. We didn't have that. Now it appears these guys that they brought in are attention to detail and accountable, centered and focused people. So that is, to me, that's a big part of what needs to happen to kind of change this game around, to be honest with you. All right. So anyway, all right. Anyway, let me see. He says how Carr has been doing with all these coaches throughout his career. Well, I mean, that's through his career, bro. I don't know. I can't. I mean, John Gruden got a lot out of him, but like I said, in order for you to get a lot out of Derek Carr, bro, listen, you got to hold him. You got to make him accountable. That's what John Gruden got him to throw for 4,000 yards for like 3 or 4 years. He got the most out of him because he kept him accountable. That's what Clint Kubiak and them, they're on their back. They understand they're not going to let Carr fail, man, because they know if Carr fails, they more than likely will fail and they'll get fired. This is a 1-year tryout for the Saints offense, and them guys know the pressure is on their back. They got to step up. And I do think, man, I'm going to give them some credit, man, because I really like how they're saying. I appreciate what they're saying because we were saying it the whole time for some time now. We're saying, man, we need to do this, we need to do that. And they're doing exactly what we say the way we said it. It's very strange, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. All right, Robert said, Jesus Christ, can you read my mind? I used to pound the sheetrock out of the walls watching Derek Carr stare people down and holding the ball. That's the most frustrating season I can remember. He indeed, bro, he does that. If you put the all 22 on, it's showing them. It's showing them. It's showing them. But like I said, man, I'm not going to sit here and argue. I see what you're saying, buddy. You got a right to feel the way, because a lot of people don't. You're not wrong to feel the way you are, buddy. I hear you, man. A lot of people don't believe in Dennis Allen, and that's fine. Dennis Allen has to show them something because he hadn't showed something. So you're not wrong in how you feel. All I'm doing is showing you the difference in what it was versus what it last year. In order for you to have success, you got to have a floor in which to work with. You got to have principles and things in place. You got to have a system, or what I like to always say, a code in place to win. Saints had no such code last year, not one that was efficient, not one that was a successful minded code that they were operating from. They didn't have that. They didn't have none of that. That's why they failed. That's why I kept telling people, well, Q, we need one more game. You never would have gotten that game because every time the Saints stepped up on that platform to get said game, they had to represent on a higher level as a collective, and they would always fail on that platform. That's why they never got that game. Because in order for you to step up for that, you have to have a certain amount of discipline, a certain amount of seriousness, and a certain amount of cohesion for you to be able to get to that next level. Because the team you playing, usually those teams that were fighting for that situation, they have those attributes. And like I said before, an on-code team off-code team cannot beat no on-code team. It don't work like that. The lack of code is one of the main reasons why there's a separation. As a team, a team is a collection of people working together to get a certain successful outcome. That's what a team is. Team could be people from all over the world and one company come together to do some stuff, and you got to make sure they're on the same page, all focused on the same vision or the same goal, and that which makes a team. But a lot of these people, they're not real teams. Like some of these losing team organizations that come, a lot of times there's fractures and there's breakdowns in the team and team dynamic. Like I was killing Bobby Hebert the other day when he was criticizing Lattimore, talking about he is against the team-based concept and all that. Like, what team you talking about? When Dennis Allen was throwing his team under the bus. That's what I'm saying, man. Listen, some of these guys, man, they just agents of the Saints, and you're gonna know who they are, because they don't have no searing or real serious critiques about what's going on. They would never tell you about some of the stuff I told you about, like dealing with the money deals and all this kind of stuff. They'll never tell you that. They'll never tell you that. They will never put blame on where it belongs on the Saints organization. They'll never put it on them, but they will always blame the players because it's easy to blame the players. They will never blame the leadership or the head coach. They will never do that. They never would. Some of these people are agents for the Saints. They work for the Saints. They get money from the Saints. And they will never criticize the Saints. It's a certain amount of hypocrisy in doing that, where if you're going to land out and talk mess about players who are not garbage players, but some of the best players the Saints ever had, like Michael Thomas. I don't give a damn what you say about Michael Thomas. You can call him whatever you want, but at the end of the day, call him a winner. Call him the top receiver of your damn team. Call him all. What's all the stats that Michael Thomas accumulated? And when they're talking about the 3 years that he didn't play, how many years did he play that he was able to take the record books down? And he missed years, but he still was able to conquer the Saints record books. So at the end of the year, when you won't call him, you call him a winner. You call him a record breaker. That's what you call Michael Thomas. When you call him a diva, when you call Marshawn Lattimore, you call him the best Saints cornerback that ever was. And he's still here, and he's going to be taking more down. I don't know where his interceptions at. I don't know if he has more interceptions. We have to check his statistics in terms of his INTs versus everybody else, but he got to be up there. He got to be up there in Saints organization. So these are winners that are record-breaking, top-notch people and players. So when you criticize players, make sure you criticize the people who created the environment for them to be upset, because they're not just getting upset because. And besides, I want my players to be upset when the team is not doing what it's supposed to do. That means you care. That means you give a damn. So anyway, it is what it is, man. It is, man. Yeah, it's just sad stuff. But yeah, like I said, a lot of the family members like, hey man, listen, I don't trust Dennis Allen. They're gonna have to, we got to you got to bust out the Glenn Jones on them with the show me, because I need to wait and see. And I'm like, bro, y'all good, fam, y'all all right, because he got a lot to show. But I'm saying you got to have a code. You have to have groundwork, and they wasn't talking like this before. They wasn't even addressing the fact that they had accountability issues. They would lie about fractures in the locker room. Everybody and their mama, including the reporters, knew that the locker room was fractured. And Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis came out and said there was no fractures in the locker room. When they were talking like that, there wasn't going to be any winning, because they were too cowardly to admit to things that was going on in the team to make it work. And they were the ones that's partly responsible for these fractures, because fractures occur when you're not talking to the players like you're supposed to. Like if the players are disgruntled, you're supposed to talk to them and iron out the wrinkles. If it's not the head coach, general manager, somebody got to do it that control the team so that the team is not fractured and you don't lose half the team, which is what happened with the Saints last year. It wasn't just Marshawn. Marshawn gets the blame for it, but it was other players. Cam Jordan was talking. Alvin Kamara was talking. There were other people talking. Demario Davis didn't choose to talk, but when he seen him come out, he would come out with a lot of prayer, though. He would talk about a lot of prayer. He would pray. Demario prayed a lot last year. He always prayed, but he prayed a lot in those press conferences. Remember all of that? So, like I said, man, it was a bit of difference, but y'all are right to be feeling the way y'all feel, because Dennis Allen has to show everybody that the Saints are here, and they do have a difficult schedule early on, and they got a whole new system to implement. But in the end, we'll see where it takes us. All right, so yes, yeah, I remember that, Kevin. He says, yeah, Mick said you're not qualified. Mickey Loomis said that. Gail didn't check him. Dennis Lauscher didn't check him. But like I said, man, I checked his ass. I checked him. I check them all. I'll do it. And that lets you know I'm not a Saints agent. That I'm not being paid by the Saints. And if they paying me to talk real about them, then they some real folks. Let me tell you something. If they paying me, I'm not a Saints. Y'all know it. I'm damn sure not a Saints agent. All right. So anyway, with that being said, man, let me get on up out of here. Listen, I appreciate all y'all for stopping by on this episode of the show. Hope y'all had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend today, and I hope you guys had a chance to spend some time with your family. That's important. We'll be back tomorrow on our Tuesday show. That's our Tuesday Patreon special. We'll talk about what's going on. OTAs fire back up tomorrow, the 28th through the 30th. We'll be covering that on our Patreon show. So if you want to join the Patreon show, you can join our YouTube channel simply by going to the join section of the platform, or simply go to our Patreon at patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, or check the links in the description section below to join it. It helps the platform out to keep building and keep doing the things we've been doing with the WhoDatDaily.com and all the fantastic stuff that we've been doing with the platform. So listen, I'm going to get out on that. Listen, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all keep y'all heads up. I'll be back over there. Tomorrow we'll talk some more Saints, and we'll keep it real some more. Much love. Who that to you?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out